Well, the work on this boat continues. I'm preparing to pull this V8 5.7 liter Chevrolet Mercruiser gas motor out of here. And one of the first things I want to do is just clean everything up. I don't want to reach down in the dark and grease and grime and stuff and years of buildup from this boat. So I'm cleaning out the bilge really good. Cleaning all the storage up on the sides down in the bilge here, and then I'm cleaning the motor up the best that I can. It wasn't real bad. The motor was actually pretty clean, to be honest, and just getting some of that little built up grime in places. And then here where the hatch goes on right here, the floor, the engine cover, well, it's got a lot of mildew and grime that's built up in there. I've been scrubbing some of it out with soap. Managed to get a little bit of it, but I'm gonna have to get a better brush than that one. It's hard to get down in there with that brush, and maybe give it a good little soaking again. But I'm getting it there. It's way better than it was. I didn't show what it looked like to start with, but it's way better than it was. And there was a lot of muck built up down there in that bilge. Kind of what triggered this off is I was down here doing some work and chasing down some wires and the condition of everything on this boat. And I stepped down in there with my flip-flop on the other night, and I pulled my flip-flop up. It was just a glob of gooey old buildup of oil and water and grime down in there. And I said, the first thing I'm going to do is clean this baby up so that every time I'm stepping and I'm moving around and working, I'm not getting that all over me and all over the boat as well. So that's where I'm beginning on this journey, cleaning all that out and preparing to unbuckle this motor to bring it up out of here soon. So I'll just start disconnecting all the peripherals on it. I'm not going to break the motor down. It looks like I can lift it probably with the manifolds on it. As my plans are, is that once I take this motor out of here, I'm going to build me a little cart that I can set it on. I bought me some casters already. I'll build a real sturdy wood cart, kind of like a crate. And I'm going to work on this thing out of the boat, and I'm probably going to crank it and run it, if it'll run or not, out of the boat. I don't care if it runs in here. It doesn't mean nothing to me. And I can get around and do the things I want to on it easier out of the boat than I can in here. My mission is to get the diesel, the 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel, which is also a Mercruiser, back down in here and start getting it hooked up. Now, one of the things I'm planning on doing once I pull this motor out of here is give it another extremely thorough cleanup, see if there's any wire connectors or anything that are showing corrosion, repair them, put good heat shrink on them, make sure that, you know, they're safe against the salt and all out there. And I want to paint all of these sides up in here, not right down in the bilge itself, but all the rest of the compartment up in there. I want to paint that with white gel coat. I've had a couple bay liners that was white up in there, and I really liked it painted white. In fact, one of them I painted it white, and it made a huge difference to me able to see what you're doing, the light reflectivity and all in there. Then the next thing that I did is, they should be in any time, they're already showed to be picked up by Ninja Van and on their way, is I bought some 12-volt LED strip lights, and I'm gonna put those LED strip lights down in this bilge, its engine compartment as well up underneath, and have it where that whole engine compartment lights up really nice and bright, and with it wide up in there on the sides, and I'll be able to just flip those on and see real well what's going on. And the nice thing about those 12-volt LEDs, they're not going to pull much power, so they're not going to be a high consumer like an incandescent bulb would. And if you were even out on the water and you had a little problem, or you need to check something or fix something minor or whatever the case may be, you can light up that whole engine bay and see what you're doing. So I'm trying to remember right now if it was three lights, it was 3 strips that all run on one controller. Can't remember if it was 3 or 4, I'm drawing a blank. But I will put all of those around underneath here. They'll be on one switch and just light it up. And I think that will be a big help. And get that in there, and those will help for years to come. So that'll definitely be an upgrade on this boat compared to the way it originally came out. Another thing here, the diesel versus this 5.7 liter gas, the specs are all out there for this particular diesel and this particular motor, and I'm going to come out about 400 pounds lighter. Yep, 400 pounds lighter, dropping that 4-cylinder diesel in. That particular diesel, it has an aluminum head on it, which makes it really lighter. It's called an alloy head. I'll say aluminum. It's, it's an alloy, and that helps out a lot. This motor here circulates the salt water all the way through the system. That brings on a lot of corrosion and damage and all. The engine I'm putting in here, the Mercruiser diesel, is a closed coolant system that has a heat exchanger, so it'll only suck salt water up and it pass through the heat exchanger only, and you don't get those corrosive materials inside the motor, the salt and all the other minerals and all that's in the water and debris. Another thing on that particular motor is, by it being a closed coolant system, meaning it has antifreeze in it that you pour in there just like in your car or anything like that, is that it can actually heat up to a proper operating temperature, which makes the fuel consumption and the blow by, as far as diesel blowing out and all, unburnt diesel, it is a great improvement because it can get up to a proper operating temperature. Another thing that happens is, by that diesel being able to get up to a warmer temperature and run way more efficient, it also causes less condensation inside the block. And you may have not ever thought about something like that happening, but it happens a lot on these marine engines, that there's going to be impurity stuff in the fuel sometimes and all that don't burn off and go out. That cooler temperature and all, sometimes it will blow by even into the crankcase, and you will get this condensation all inside the engine. And if that engine ever set for very long, it's probably going to start rusting, and it'll turn like a muck inside of the motor. It's not good, and that's a problem even on these gas engines that circulated just seawater or lake water. They didn't get up warm enough, and it was way better if they had a heat exchanger and could get up and operate at a more efficient temperature up there. Well, that's a little bit of information I can give you on that. I'm just working on this boat step by step. So that's what's happening here on trying to rehab this 1996 model Sea Ray 240 Sundancer that I found here in the Philippines, which is a very rare item in this country. Maybe very common in a lot of other countries, but here, getting this is a needle in a haystack, and it's a really good boat, but it does need some work, and I'm going to be doing this work myself. It's going to be my hobby here. Enjoy it, take it out, use it, do maintenance on it, and and just enjoy being here by the water at the beach and enjoying life here. Well, I'm gonna get on to doing something else. Well, I've been down in here unbuckling everything from this motor, getting ready to pull it out. I want to take these risers off. I got the stainless bolts all out of them just now, and we'll get these up out of the way. I got this one here loose too. There it goes. Yep. So these had riser blocks put on here. It means these were changed also. If you had waves slapping into the back of your boat, there's some little flaps back there down at the very bottom, and those are supposed to keep water from pushing back in, but the exhaust can blow out. And if waves hit real hard and slap back, or those are bad, water can push up and actually get down into your engine. If you, even these risers right here, get it up higher, it'll actually help you out against that even more. Here's a nice one somebody put on here. Looks like solid stainless steel. I'm gonna be careful with all this. I'm gonna reassemble everything back just the way it is here in the boat once it's out of the boat. I don't want anything lost or holes getting rusted up or seized up or anything. So everything's gonna get a little dab of waterproof grease on it and cleaned up and all assembled back. I want to keep this motor together absolutely as much as possible. And really, these are about the only thing I'm wanting to pull off, and maybe the distributor cap so I don't break it for a little clearance there. And I want to keep everything else intact, and I want to set it out of here as complete as I can. Actually looks really good. Yeah, man. Actually, you can look down in here, see the condition of all the holes here, if they're blockage, if there's a lot of rust in them. And these are actually in very premium condition. Nice. Happy to see that. Very nice condition. Check this one out too. Same thing. This has been well maintained. That is nice. Of course, the stainless ain't gonna be rusted, but what I'm looking at is down in here where the water blends with the exhaust. It causes a swirling like action right here. Water is in around these slots here. It's water. Water comes out around these. Mixes right here with the exhaust. And usually if they've been in a lot of salt, that's all blocked and clogged up. These are actually all clear. Very nice. That is a good sign right there. I was scared of this being in salt water, that it was going to be in very bad condition. But it's actually in very nice, clean condition. You can see this here. Very good condition. Clamps. I've already taken the wiring harness loose from the engine right here. It has a plug, it plugs up. I've already taken the gear shift controls loose and the throttle loose as well. I've already got all of that loose. All clean. I mean, clean. That is very promising right there. That's a good sign. The oil is clean. These boat seats, I might use them temporary when I get the boat in order as far as the running condition and all, but I'll definitely be sending them out to be reupholstered. And if I can't find somebody to do it at the quality that I want, I may just buy me a commercial sewing machine and do it myself. That's something else that y'all can call BS if you ever want to, but my friends that are watching, and my friend Cap that's here in the Philippines will tell you, I know how to do automotive and boat, that, you know, heavy grade upholstery work. And I've been a man in my life of many hats. And so the deal is that I really enjoy restoring and rebuilding cars and hot rods for a good part of my life. And sometimes to get the work done that I want it done, I would have to go to these local upholstery shops and I drop my stuff off and wait. Man, I have a running car with no seats. And you go see them. Oh, next week. We have it ready next week. And you go see them next week. And then it's going to be another week. And then, oh, my machine broke, or my help went on vacation, and hi. And at the same time, if y'all don't know, I also was in the car business. And so I ran many businesses at one time. That's how I got ahead in life, is that for a section of my life, I did multiple things at one time, operating several different types of businesses. And so one of the things is we were in the car business, and the same thing. I needed seats done, you know, like I buy a trade-in from a car dealership or something, and you know, the driver's seat's messed up, or somebody spilled something or burned holes, and or the headliner's falling down and all this stuff, and or it needs new carpet. And once again, trying to get it into these shops, and you're trying to get a turnaround time. So what I did is I taught myself how to do that upholstery. Turned out I was pretty damn good at it. Yeah, turned out I was pretty damn good at it. And I did old vintage cars from, you know, back, you know, I mean, old cars. And I did all kinds of different vehicles, and the stretch in, pull in headliners, like where you have to pull the windshield out and the back glass out and stretch all those. And man, I learned how to do it all. How to mold all that carpet to the floorboards, dealing with all the jute, and I did a lot of vinyl tops. You remember those vinyl tops that used to be on the cars that had the vinyl top or the half vinyl top? A lot of your coupes and stuff like that. I did a lot of those vinyl tops. Turned out I was pretty damn good at it. Yeah, and so I did a lot of that at night time. And I had my regular businesses during the day. I had a lot of running going during the day. But instead of watching TV when the nighttime would come, I would be out doing upholstery. And I had a place up in the city that I did it at. I had a big shop. But I also was set up out at my home so I could be near my family. But I would be out there in a little building off to the side, even out at my house, sewing away, you know, sewing away. I enjoyed it. I know how to do all the different little styles and pleats. Again, I was pretty darn good at it. And of course, over time, I got into certain businesses that were way more lucrative than other businesses were. And because of that, I had to divide my time where it was the most responsible. And so when I can go out and do some work that I'm making, you know, $800 in a day, and did some pretty easy work versus some other types of work, well, I'm gonna go where that golden goose is, you know. So I kind of gave up and stepped away from the upholstery work after several years. And this, I guess just in the past couple of years, back in the US, I sold off my upholstery equipment. I had everything from button makers and snap machines to those good oscillating walking foot, what they call oscillating shuttle walking foot, sewing machines, commercial double pleat, double needle machines for running that pleat, like maybe down some of your jeans where you'll see that double stitch going down. Really did enjoy it.